Hi, I'm Ashley Alcantara. Welcome to my prompt number 3, which addresses a challenge faced in education. So the challenge that I chose to focus on is social emotional learning. So this presentation will define both sides of the SEL argument and the debate surrounding social emotional learning, exploring the various challenges, the different perspectives, and examine how these materials and issues manifest themselves in the classroom. So first is, what is social emotional learning? So according to CASEL, the Collaborative for Academic, Social, and Emotional Learning organization, social emotional learning, or SEL, is the process through which all young people, adults included, acquire and apply the knowledge, skills, and attitudes to develop healthy identities, manage emotions and achieve personal and collective goals, feel and show empathy for others, establish and maintain supportive relationships, and make responsible and caring decisions. So you can see here the CASEL SEL framework discusses all of those components to see how students can impact the classroom, schools, their families, and further the community. So social emotional learning has gained widespread attention, and the goal is to develop emotional, intelligent, empathetic, and interpersonal skills for our students, along with the academic needs. However, its implementation presents some challenges. So there's two sides of this SEL debate. So those that advocate for social emotional learning in the classroom, and those that are critics of SEL in the classroom. So those that are advocates say that it enhances academic success as well as mental health, and it helps to build positive relationships and improve school culture, and in turn improve overall culture, right, in communities, in families. Those that are critics of social emotional learning say that it takes focus away from those core subjects, those math, reading, writing subjects. It's difficult to assess and measure whether social emotional learning is working in the classroom as far as standardized testing goes, and it may impose certain perspectives on students. Why is it a challenge? So there's several reasons why SEL is a challenge in implementation in education due to limited organizational capacity. So schools sometimes lack resources, infrastructure, staffing to effectively integrate the SEL programs or tools into their curriculum. It's inconsistent support and buy-in. So leadership support is crucial for success for SEL in a school or a county, as well as staff buy-in. So if the staff don't believe in this program and implement it with fidelity, it won't be effective. Of course, SEL requires some training. So there is some training gaps. Teachers require appropriate training and retraining as needed, ongoing professional development to implement these SEL strategies effectively. And then lastly, cultural and developmental relevance. So SEL programs need to be adaptable to meet the needs of our diverse student populations with many different age groups. It's not a one-size-fits-all approach. So different viewpoints on SEL implementation. So we have the teachers, the parents, and the policymakers. So educators very often nowadays feel as though some sort of SEL program is crucial, right? We need to develop our whole student. However, some of the concerns that they have expressed around the time demands of SEL programs, of course, coupled with that academic demand, as well as the concerns over the lack of training, the lack of resources, the lack of staff able to implement these programs. So parents, same things. They want their students to be citizens that are able to have social and emotional strategies. They want SEL to be a program that can help teach their students essential life skills. However, they also have some apprehension. They worry about some of the influence that can be put upon their children, potentially infringing upon some of their personal beliefs. And then, of course, parents are also worried about the time that it would take from their students' academic learning. And lastly, the policymakers. So luckily, over the last 10 or so years, Social emotional learning has taken a step forward in our legislation and with our federal government. For example, with the Every Student Succeeds Act in 2015. However, there are still some hesitations from lawmakers. Of course, funding concerns around things like staffing and resources for all schools. And then, of course, the implementation concerns surrounding the teacher training. So, the prevalence of SEL challenges in schools. So in my experience as an educator, I've worked at a couple of different schools. I know teachers that work at different schools, different counties. So hearing from others' experiences as well, integration of SEL has been inconsistent across schools within Georgia. I'm sure this probably stands true in the rest of the county as well. So those that have strong leadership, that have a strong belief in SEL, tend to have better engagement from their staff and their students, while those with limited support resources tend to struggle. I personally believe that SEL is crucial for shaping the whole child. So I implement SEL in my classroom daily. I do things like class meetings, mindfulness, brain breaks. So I've seen firsthand the benefits for my students. And I'm lucky to work in a county that fully supports social emotional learning in the classroom. So it allows me to incorporate SEL seamlessly into my teaching practices. But again, depending on the school, some schools are successfully able to implement school-wide SEL initiatives. On the other hand, some might see SEL as an afterthought to the academic pressures. So how does SEL relate to me in my classroom? So I utilize components of SEL every day. I believe that educators are responsible for what we can do in helping students meet those basic needs. And social emotional learning belongs in that category, right? We want to foster students' safety and belonging, and social emotional learning can feed into that. So it's our job to prepare students to be successful citizens in our ever-changing world. So this includes, of course, preparing students academically, but also equipping students with tools for their social and emotional well-being. I have taken steps in my classroom to make sure that I help create some well-rounded individuals. So I implement different strategies in my classroom, like we do mindfulness every day, practicing breathing and different movement. We have classroom meetings. We have a cool-down corner. Students have plenty of opportunities to participate in brain breaks. We do some check-ins, weekly goals, and my school has a school-wide program that we use as our social emotional learning curriculum called Sources of Strength. These tools and strategies that we use, the goal is for students to be able to use these and have these discussions in the classroom, and then further be able to share these strategies with their families, with their communities. So that we can help all be socially and emotionally prepared. So how does SEL play a part in my community? So here are some different strategies that my county or my school provide, some resources, strategies, programs that are provided to staff, students, and the families in my district. So you can see there is the Forsyth County Learner Profile. I work in Forsyth County. The County Learner Profile focuses on the whole child. And as a result of that, our county has a mindfulness. So our county has developed this mindfulness program. It provides mindfulness training for all staff that are wanting to participate. This is teachers, admin, counselors, and mindfulness is the idea of being present in the here and now and providing our students with tools and strategies for any situation that they might encounter. So the mindfulness training is for staff to implement this in their classroom, but there's also opportunities for staff to attend and participate in their own mindfulness time. So this allows teachers who are not trained to still receive support from those at the county office. So I've been fortunate to receive training from the county, and I have participated in sharing this with my staff, even leading some mindfulness at faculty meetings. This is becoming a big push in our district. And then lastly, my school, our social emotional learning curriculum is Sources of Strength. So again, this focuses on the whole student, the different aspects from mental health to spirituality, having positive relationships and friendships, and all of that combined helps make a successful student. So despite these challenges, SEL remains a vital aspect of student development. So addressing some of those challenges, addressing the leadership support and the training gaps, as well as the cultural relevance, it can enhance the effectiveness of SEL programs throughout our schools. So by fostering a collaborative approach among educators, administrators, parents, students, we can create a more holistic educational experience that prioritizes both academic and emotional growth. And we know that once students are mentally prepared, they are going to do better academically as well. So, some ways that I have seen this work in my classroom, some of those tools that I use in my classroom to equip my students with some social emotional strategies and skills are the following. So my students participate in daily check-ins, so it's through Microsoft Reflect. So this is just a couple of snapshots of what the program looks like from the teacher's perspective as well as the student perspective. So you can see students are prompted to, check in. How are you feeling today? There's also different levels of this. For younger students, it could be less emotions and with the smiles and so on. Once you click on a specific emotion, it has you dig in even deeper. And based on your response to that prompt, it may give you some resources to help combat whatever emotion you're feeling. So you can see kind of on the side over here, there's different brain breaks, and if you're feeling stressed, it might guide you towards meditation and things like that. This middle section is what I can see as an educator. So this is kind of a snapshot of my students. You can click in and really zoom in on the specific emotions. You can track student trends. We also do daily mindfulness in my classroom. So this is the practice of breathing, moving, and just checking in with ourselves. So this is an example of some slides. We do our breathing ball every day, and some movement and some different check-ins. I also have a cool down corner in my classroom that is available for students at all times. There are some rules that are for the mindfulness corner that we review at the beginning of the year, of course. But this is a safe space for students to go if they need a break for whatever reason. There's different tools over there. There's a breathing ball. There's some different graphics like you see here to help guide students. And they just set their timer and they get to cool down. Part of being SEL ready is being able to self-acknowledge, self-regulate, and set some goals for yourself. So every week in my class, we do weekly goals. These are student-driven. We've talked about what a goal is, and this is on their desk to help hold them accountable. And of course, every day, sometimes multiple times a day, we participate in brain breaks, different types of brain breaks. So some would you rather, some just truly our brain is not thinking about academics at that time. We have our therapy dog that comes at our school that will come and do mindfulness with us once a week, practice movement, and just get to love on him. And again, on the Microsoft Reflect, there's different brain break options. So here's some meditate, some movement, depending on what your students need. So again, I think social emotional learning is a challenge that we face in education today. However, it is our responsibility as educators to be preparing the students in our classroom to enter into the world. So thank you for listening. Here are my references, and I hope that you implement some social emotional learning in your own classroom. Thank you.